the first thing we need to talk about is people. And again, I've been here since this morning, and I heard a lot of talks that are actually about peeling back the technology and going back to basics, which is added value. And added value is being consumer focused and understanding where the consumers are and what they need. And when we talk about consumers, we need to understand, of course, the generational trends. So specifically for commerce or marketing, you can see that it's usually about which generation was in their 20s at the time. So if we're talking about Zennials, people who were born after 1975, these people had Commodore, right? Any of you know what Commodore is, or are you too young? So people who played on an IBM computer, they didn't grow up with an iPhone in their hands. However, millennials had a mobile phone, probably not an iPhone, but they started being, more digital, more involved in other types of commerce. And Gen Z was already born with an iPhone. I have a few of those at home. And this really affected how commerce went. So we looked at, commerce just virtual or digital versions of retail, because that's what we knew when, people were born in 1975. Then people who were born in 1981, millennials, really developed the whole direct-to-consumer because they understood platforms, they understood mobile, they understood location-based marketing and all of these technologies. And then Gen Z already came with a whole new perspective of consumerism and of re-commerce, of reselling, of redesigning, of owning the conversation. And they totally changed commerce again. But now we have these guys. I also have a few of these at home. I have all of them. And Gen Alpha, people who are 14 today, they already spend 100 minutes a day almost on social media. I mean, they are on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Pinterest. They're on Roblox, of course, if you have kids, on Minecraft, on many other platforms. And we have to understand that, because if we looked, again, at how generations reflect commerce, then what is this generation's commerce and marketing? And the key word here, and I think Karen here, who is the social media queen, will agree, is influence. Because at the end of the day, when we only had cable TV and we had just a few shows that everyone watched, we knew that we were watching ads, and whatever was shown on these ads, or whatever the TV show's message was, that's what we knew and that's what we got. But now we are influenced by many, many sources because of, obviously, social media and all of these platforms that I just showed. 85% of Gen Z consumers purchased a product or service because they saw an influencer reviewing it or advertising it. And 55% of Gen Alpha, they hardly have any money, said that they would purchase a product if they saw an influencer using it. And of course, as they become shoppers and not just potential shoppers, this figure will rise. And we talked about, one of the speakers talked about how these type of trends infiltrate retail. And here we see it on Amazon. Already internet famous, they have the latest to go viral. We see influence immediately translating to commerce. So again, Amazon, who are by themselves influencers, already adopt trends from social media, right? Has any of you ever encountered this? Yes, okay. So until I did the research about it, I didn't know it, and I live on Amazon, unfortunately. Again, I didn't know it, but obviously people use it. So we have this, this big influence talk. But another interesting trend that is happening because of social media, and we are getting to personalization, is tribes and subcultures. We talked about personalization at scale. I know that Erica Hawthorne here talked about it. And we see a lot of subcultures. Any subcultures that you know about? Come on, I want to hear. Book talk, mom talk. Come on. Yes, you're nodding. So I recently gave this a similar presentation at Baruch College and Baruch Free, and they said I think like 100 different talks that they knew about. There are so many subcultures, and these design our knowledge and inspiration of trends. So something can be obscure, and a TikToker would make it happen and would make a whole thing out of it. Affirmations is now a thing. So a lot of cultures, emo, other subcultures that are coming back to life. And the next stage is personalization. So if we have this personalization at scale through the tribes and the subcultures, we also have personalization talking to one person, which is through technology and again, digital market. So this is the economy of many to many. If we talked about before that, the creator economy and few to many, now we're talking about many to many. So all of these influence generational trends are creating the social commerce and live shopping industry. And I think probably a lot of you heard about the social shopping or even participated in live streaming. This is really big in China, for example. It's already a $350 billion industry. In the US, it's about 10% of that, but it's really growing. What is social commerce and live streaming, and why is it growing? So there are two reasons for that. One is trust. Because we talk about influence, but people, at the end of the day, they trust friends and family over brands and over influencers on social media. So we want to create that context with the consumers. But the other thing is stress. It's very stressful to shop online. We don't necessarily have the support or the confidence or the fun of going to a real store and talking to a seller or touching something and trying it on. And we need to remember, again, to talk about the future consumers, that according to Poshmark report, Poshmark is a reselling company. So again, very on trend. For Gen Z, if it's not social, it's not worthwhile. Everything we do in commerce and marketing has to have the social perspective. Otherwise, you're going to be irrelevant. What is the trend in tech that enables this social shopping? So we talked about live stream, and there are a few examples here, Aldo or Saks Fifth Avenue, but you probably saw many other retailers that are doing it, brands that are doing it, from Kit Kat chocolate to Walmart. Really, everyone is doing a live stream now, and that enables shoppers to actually ask questions and engage and maybe talk with their friends during and really have a social experience. So it's a totally different type of commerce than what we were used to before, which is like a digital shelf. So just going online and trying to browse products and not really understanding what's better for me and what's not. So this is a really great way to personalize the shopping. Another strategy is virtual shops. So in that regard, you can actually utilize the whatever retail presence you already have and invested in, and just turn it into a virtual experience. So again, if we talk about the metaverse that is going to happen, that's another aspect of that. I mean, I could just go to American Girl with my daughters or sons and give them avatars, and we'd all shop in the store, just browse, just go around the store as if we're actually in the New York store. Wrangler also did one of those. But future technologies, which I didn't hear a lot about here, and I expected to, so I didn't want to go into it in detail. NFT, which we all heard of, and of course, cryptocurrency and blockchain. All of these are the enabling technologies that create what we are calling now the metaverse. We can track transactions. We can turn any marketing prompt into an actual sale, and we can track back whatever sale happened to the to get data as to where this transaction stemmed for. And today, marketers are creating digital twins already to be ready for the future of this metaverse environment. So if you have a physical product, you would create a digital version that perhaps grants you another perk or maybe some extras that cannot be replicated in the real world. Or maybe you can just have bragging rights. I mean, if I have an amazing jacket, I want to have it in the virtual world where all my friends will see it and not just waste it on one person that I actually meet in person. So digital twins is one strategy that marketers today need to think about when we are talking about the metaverse. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about here was consumer to consumer. So again, creator economy and how we talk through influencers is something that we are already aware of, and there are creator platforms in any media platform today. And creators are selling to the fan base. Creators are extremely important to understand. I think they are really the key today, because we talked before, a lot of speakers discussed the fact that we have a lot of different personas, right? But I can't really try to sell to each person. I don't know if, my son or myself or a person of another ethnicity or sexual orientation or any specific characteristic or attribute, I can't really plan to sell or market to each of them. But each of us already follow influencers that we connect with, right? So I only, and I state sarcastically, I just need to be able to send my message through all of these influencers, and my audience will already connect to them. And that's obviously a problem. That's a whole new strategy, but that would be the perfect world where I can talk through creators. And as brands, the perk that you need to give to creators is to let them engage with the audience, to let them sell their own merchandise, to sell to their own fan base. Don't take their authenticity away, otherwise you'll hurt your message as well as their message. But if we're talking about many-to-many and the future of marketing, and not just what's happening now and in the near year or so, we are talking about consumer to consumer. So if we look at Meta, for example, Facebook, that created Horizon Worlds, which is how to the whole metaverse conversation started. They are allowing people, right now it's creators, to sell virtual products through their platform. Okay, so that's already a new channel for sales. But consumers in the future will be also able to sell anything through these platforms. And it sounds weird, maybe, but 75% of people are comfortable buying directly from a person online. So just to go online and buy from someone I don't know, I trust people just the way people used to trust brands and retailers. And I think it's maybe mind-blowing, but that's the reality. And we do see that a few platforms that are designed for consumer to consumer are on the rise. Depop, for example, already acquired by Etsy. They have 30 million active users, and 90% of them are under the age of 26. So again, we're looking at the future. These are our consumers. They buy from other people. They don't necessarily trust brands. Also, Redbubble. Any of you buy on Redbubble or sell on Redbubble? Yes. What do you sell?
I don't sell.
Okay. What do you? Can you share? Stickers. Yes. Anyone else? Yes. Okay. You're welcome to share what you bought if you want. Okay. And that's amazing because I had interns that were, 17, and they told me that they make money through selling stickers. One of them just wrote, she loves soccer, and she did a sticker saying, this princess wears cleats. And that financed her entire, spring vacation. And that's just amazing. And the entrepreneurial spirit of Gen Z and Gen Alpha is something that we need to remember and reward. We want to use that as marketers. We can finally do this many-to-many game because these people actually sell and market, and they know their audience and they know what they like because they are the audience themselves, right? Okay, so to conclude, and then we'll have a lot of time for questions if you want. We're talking about the new generations and their new expectation. And I didn't go into detail about their new expectations, but personalization, again, if I am used to having people talking directly to me, and if Google knows exactly where I am when I ask for a recommendation on a restaurant, then I expect you to personalize your product, to personalize your message, right? And while we can do that, you can target me according to my attributes, but this generation doesn't like to be defined. Gen Z and also Gen Alpha, identity is super important for them. So they don't want you to define them by my gender or what you think my gender is, or my sexual orientation, or my color, or where I come from, or my weird name. They want to be able to define themselves. So again, we cannot give these messages that are based on assumptions of how we, older generations, or maybe I'm just talking about myself, see the world. We really need to talk to them at their level, which is through people that they already trust, either influencers or their tribes or other consumers. Reclaiming. So again, think for the future, think about, I don't know which products you market or which categories or services, but being able to provide your consumers with the ability to resell your products. Make them a part of it. Anyone here sells actual products, not services? What do you sell?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is for you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's better.
Yes, we are as company. I don't think there's a voice, but in my company we are selling NFTs at OpenSea.
Oh,
So
okay.
that might be one thing.
I can't hear, so maybe.
Yeah. I can make it on the nose.
Okay.
Last one I did 10 seconds off.
Try again. Somebody else has heard.
My company is
Okay.
selling NFTs at OpenSea. So
NFT?
maybe yes, NFTs at OpenSea.
Awesome. So that's a great example because brands now are trying to understand the whole NFT game, right? I know Adidas, Gucci did a great job with that. But consumers want to be able to personalize their own NFTs, right? You can let them sell it to their friends. You can let them identify themselves. You can let them create avatars or products or the digital twins for your products and create those NFTs and maybe even make money out of it. And that, again, is to cater to their entrepreneurial spirit. So we need to look at these trends and leverage them for our marketing. And new platforms and new commerce. So we talked about live stream a little bit and social commerce. Again, for digital marketers, it's very important to understand these type of live events, because we can really create on-spot message to sell something just as we would in a store or in a face-to-face conversation. And of course, the future of, like we just said, metaverse, crypto, and NFT. So the roadmap to this new type of commerce. First, we need to ask questions before we have answers. Who is the seller and who is the shopper? Is it a brand? Is it a creator? Is it fans? Is it consumer to consumer? You need to define for yourself who is the seller and who is the shopper. Then we need to understand why. Why are they there? Why do they use a live stream? Why do they buy direct to consumer? Why do they buy from their favorite creator? Is it to support decisions? Do they want to have fun? Do they look for increased trust? Because you need to personalize the messages according to these parameters, obviously. How? How are they doing it? Through metaverse, through chats, through VR, through shopping, and where? Where is it done? On social media, in gaming platforms, on Discord. A lot of people today are on Discord, and marketers really don't have a way to engage in Discord, right? It's like this closed garden that marketers keep looking into. Or through my online shop, where I can actually determine the message. That's it. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer. Yes?
I have a question about the metaverse. Okay. So for the metaverse, what everyone does it's the first, and whatever they do it, since it's a new concept, it's the first. But from all of these first, what will be the marketing trend that you think that which will stay?
The marketing that will stay in the metaverse?
Yes.
You mean in technologies such as crypto, NFT?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, what are, if I understand, what are the technologies that are going to be not fads, but long-term trends in the metaverse? And the answer is that it doesn't really matter. I mean, consumers are generally technology agnostic. They want value. And so if right now the best technology, the best way to provide it to them is through cryptocurrency, because we want decentralized Web3 surroundings, then that's, the technology that's gonna work. Or creating NFTs. Or if we look at VR versus avatars, it depends. It depends if the helmets will be easier to navigate, for example. But it really doesn't matter. I mean, you would want to know which technology to invest in, but you would invest in the technology that works right now. And it's hard to predict what the next technology is. When I analyze technologies on an industry level, I look at startups, I look at investments in those startups to understand what's going to grow and what is not. I look at influencers and I see what they are talking about. Are they into NFTs? Are they building avatars right now? Are they saying, check out this new VR helmet, it's the best thing ever, and what kind of, type of engagement they're getting. So that's how you research influencers to understand what they're telling their followers. But again, it's really hard to determine.
Yeah, because I know that some companies are investing lots of monies for, let's say, like digital museum, where they are showcasing the company's history in the metaverse. And while you're creating all of these in the digital world, you are paying huge lots of monies to digital artists for these digital creations. And so I just wanted to know, like, is it worth it, or is it just a trend?
That's true. So one strategy that I see working, and I think will work in the long term, because again, it provides a lot of value, is digital twins again. So to have something that complements whatever you have in real life, to have the added value, whether it's a code or extra perks, on the virtual aspect of whatever physical thing or service you sell. So that's something that I would definitely invest in when I look at the metaverse. Any other questions? Yes.
My question was, the terms content creators and influencers, it seems to be quite interchangeable. Do you think that they are the same thing, or are they two separate types of
Influencers and?
Content creators?
Oh, so definitely. So influencers is probably the old word we would use, and today we use creators, because influencers, I think it only looks at the outcome, influence. And content creators really gives more respect to content creators. That's how they perceive themselves. They don't come to influence. They come to create content, and that's where their authenticity comes from. So it's important when you talk to creators to regard them as creators. I mean, they're not influencers. They come to share their message, to share their product, to share what they believe in. And that's their power also. Because when I come to sell you something, when I'm an influencer, I'm not as authentic. You wouldn't trust me. And when I come and I share my art with you, and you connect to me through my art, through my words, whatever, that's where the magic happens. That's why they are so successful.
Catch?
Okay, my question is, what are some apps that you think we can download today to start getting more familiar with this new era of marketing, things to familiarize us with the gaming apps, NFT world, metaverse, etc., outside of just the regular social channels?
Sure. So there is a long tail of social commerce and gaming apps and whatever. It means that the decentralization that we talk about in Web3, it happens in everything. So there are so many platforms and apps, and on every platform we know about, like Roblox or Fortnite, there are probably 1,000 that your kids know, my kids know, and I will never know about. And so the best way is to really, I guess, try to focus on the big ones. And again, the next stage strategy would be to work through the consumers, because they will be on all of these platforms. You don't have to. We have 1 minute if anyone else wants to ask anything. Okay. Thank you very much.